There's a question.
Well, hello everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight here at Ringgold United Methodist Church. We're going to have a conversation about our message on Sunday, delivered by Marty McGee. And the title of the message was Accompaniment in Missions. We've been doing this Tuesday night series, continuing our sermon for a couple of months now, really as we kind of got started into the pandemic and quarantine and not being able to be in person, just kind of give us a little bit more time to interact and continue some conversations. So I invited Marty to come and be with us. He's going to weigh in a little bit more on his sermon. We get to ask him some questions. And if you have questions about the sermon, feel free to drop those down in the comments, either now as we're live, or you can do those later as well, and we'll interact with you on the chat. This week was a little bit different as well because we have a special emphasis on our mission in Haiti. The mission that happens from Ringgold United Methodist Church, really started by our church, that goes on in Haiti. So I invited Miss Belinda Chrisman to come and be with us tonight as well. So she's going to share some more about our mission in Haiti and what's going on there. So I want to welcome you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for being with us tonight. I'm excited. This is our first time having 3 people on camera at the same time as we've done this. So we're going to have a good time tonight. Feel free to drop us any questions you may have, and we'll address those as we go. I want to say hey to Clay Thompson, who's joining us. Audrey Collison is joining us. Marion, I've got a friend from Nicaragua named Hector that's joining us as well. And Greg McCullen. Thanks for joining us and being with us tonight. So we are going to get into our conversation about this past Sunday's sermon. If you haven't watched that, you can check it out on our website, ringgoldumc.org, but delivered by our own Associate Lay Leader, Marty McGee. And so Marty had a really important line in there where he said not to just talk the talk, but to walk the walk in what God's calling us to do. So I want to ask, Marty, I'll start with you specifically. How has God used you to walk the walk in missions? And then Belinda, if you'll follow up when Marty's finished.
Okay, great. Growing up in the church, I'm very fortunate. I probably got the most boring testimony that you've ever heard because I haven't had to overcome a lot of things that some people have had to overcome. I've grown up in the church, grown up in the youth group, and on into my adult life. I have found church can be something that people will show up at 9 o'clock or 11 o'clock and just stay for an hour, where walk the walk gives people, it gives me an opportunity to take what I garner from being in church, listening to sermons, and to put that into application. There's a life application Bible that a lot of people read, and when you think about hearing a message and then finding an opportunity like mission or serving in the church or serving in the community, you can absolutely add to your own walk by literally walking the walk, learning what the Bible says, figuring out how to apply that in real life, and then going out and finding areas that you can apply and help humanity.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
Yeah. And I think, when I think about that, when we first made our first trip in 2013, and Marty was on that trip, it was, we were definitely talking the talk. We were very naive, and maybe Alan in the group was walking the walk because he'd been going several years, but the rest of us, it was our first time down there, and it was like arriving in the wild, wild west. Yeah. I mean, we didn't really know a lot about it, and we were there to put the roof on 2 classrooms, and so it would have been easy for us just to put the roof on and leave, and sometimes that happens, but I think God nudged us to actually walk the walk. He said, here are these children that are hungry and they can't learn when they're hungry. And so, a group at Ringgold got together and sent money down to feed the kids at the school. And they needed uniforms, and they needed textbooks. And so, some really wonderful servants here at the church came together and started walking the walk. And, and then, it was very organic, actually. That's what's so cool about it, I think, is it just really was like, oops, we built a school and now we've got to support the school. And it matters what goes on in that school. It matters, are they teaching the Bible in that school? Are they preparing the kids for the government exams? Those kinds of things matter. And so I think we were nudged into walking the walk. We might, if we'd known from the beginning, what it was involved, we might have given it more thought and maybe not even stepped out there. But, God gave us that courage to keep going with it. So.
Yeah, that's incredible. And one of the things, I don't know if you guys caught this, I didn't fully realize how big the school has gotten. So you can tell us this. So enrolling new 6th grade class coming up this next year, right?
Right.
So what are we anticipating to be the total enrollment for the school?
200 students.
200.
So we started with 2 classes of 50, so 25 each, 50 students. And so the ultimate goal is to go through 7th grade, and then the students can go on to a local high school. And we actually had a group of kids that went through 7th grade because when we started the school, we couldn't turn anybody away. Even if they weren't pre-K age and kindergarten age, we took them in. Right. And so they were ready to move on. And so now we've provided scholarships for them to go on to school. And they sign a contract with us that they'll come back and work at the school, like tutor the younger kids. So there's a partnership there. That accompaniment that Marty talked about is we're working with the kids too.
That's cool. Yeah. So this will be the first year too is this the first class that's gone all the way through then? Or it would be next year, I guess, right?
Right,
okay.
Next year.
That's right, because you got to go to 7th grade.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
It is exciting. Yeah.
Also, Belinda talked about what matters. And, you talk about watching TV and that two-dimensional, talking heads. You see on TV, other countries, other people, but then you actually go on mission and you walk that walk and you get that 3-dimensional, hey, this is a person that also has, 2 eyes and 2 arms and 2 legs. It makes it really real, and to be able to, walk the walk as opposed to just seeing it or reading a book or having someone tell you about it. That 3-dimensional experience is quite meaningful for anybody I'd say just about anybody that's ever been on mission can talk about that 3-dimensional experience. It just really makes it real. Sure does.
That's cool. That's an amazing thing. We were talking a little bit before, and I think it'd be neat to know, if you've ever been on a mission trip at all, you can let us know that, or maybe if you've been to Haiti specifically, let us know that in the comments as well. And maybe what you've learned and ways that God's used you to walk the walk in it. I like what you shared there about it. It makes it real. It makes it 3D. In that sense, it gets it off the page and really out of the head too, and kind of puts it in the heart.
Yes.
I can't tell you the number of trips I've been on to different places, and it's like your heart just aches for the people that you've been with. And it changes things for you. Because you see how they live and not in a bad kind of way, but you feel what they feel because you've been where they are, even just a little bit. So that I think that's an important thing for us to think about. Marty, you made a really clear distinction between empathy and sympathy. And encouraged us to empathize with people. My question would be, maybe remind us of what the difference is.
Okay, from an evangelical standpoint, I think, and I'm not trying to put down other churches, but some churches, some faiths, that basically their evangelism is to knock on the door and ask someone, have you accepted Jesus as your Savior? I think the Methodist Church does a really good job of finding out about a person before they get into the minutia of how things are going with them. Just a person, rather than knock on the door and being critical of someone, you notice someone's got their truck stuck in a ditch and you're able to go over there and help them with that, gives you a great opportunity to share your faith, to find out what they need. And it's one of those things where you want to get to know the person first. If a rich oil sheik in another country came to the United States and wanted to tell me how I could improve myself, I kind of resent it a little bit. In some ways, you go to other countries and you want to tell people how to do things. I found out early on, my job is to help someone else do it their way. When you go to Haiti, there are no building codes. There are no, laws and regulations that says how high a wall should be or how a roof should be. But the people that are there, that are going to be living in those walls and under that roof, those are the people that know, what needs to be done. And it's one of those things that was very exciting for our church, our group, to go and work alongside them, accompany them as they made a better life for themselves.
Yeah. I think that's an important point, Marty, that the partnering with them, when we go down, we work beside them, and they're our partners. It's not just us swooping in and doing some work as they sit and watch us. We try really hard to make that a hand-in-hand kind of thing, and that takes some time and effort to do that, for sure. Another thought I had about that is getting to know the community and the country. And something that we did early on that was wrong is we would take down entire suitcases full of like clothes and those kinds of things, and our hearts were good. I mean, we didn't mean anything by it. We just thought we were helping. And what we discovered was, there would be a lady in the community that she sold clothes at a price they could afford. And we were taking her job, we were taking her livelihood, and she couldn't feed her children because of something that we did without thinking. It was not a malicious thing, it was something we just did without thinking. And then, even at a deeper level, we were creating this society of beggars, and that's definitely what you don't want to do. So I think that's a part of this, getting to know them better and living in empathy, where you're really putting yourself in that community and understanding it. Yeah,
empathy, I think, also helps you to understand that someone's financial position may be extremely horrifying to someone that works a 40-hour job and makes a living and has insurance and all that sort of thing. But to them, $3 a day is a great job. Who are we to come down and say, we need to, feel sorry for you? What we need to do is go down there and support them and find out, how they can continue on and with the $3 a day or $5 a day that they're making, rather than say, I don't want to be boastful. I want to be able to lift up that person and say, hey, if $3 a day is a good amount for you to live every day, then good for you.
I think that's, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that's a good point, because sometimes we make assumptions based on materials, goods or gains, or like a great example. We've had visitors from Haiti, and somebody said, once they come here, I'm sure they're going to want to live here, stay here. And that wasn't true at all. I mean, they love their country, they love their community, they love their relationships and the work that they're doing in that community. So they didn't care about bigger houses, they didn't care about air conditioning. I sort of care about that, but they didn't. And so it was just a real eye-opener to me that we just have to do away with our assumptions about things, and our way of living is being
instead of being sympathetic, we are empathetic, and we understand that what they're going through, as opposed to shaming them for not being financially on the same level as someone in this country.
And I think it's a little bit of a prejudice that we think someone else should be living the way we're living, or that they're going to want the things that we want or have the things we have. It's a narrow way of thinking that I've seen so many people when they go on mission trips that whole perspective changes.
Yes.
Because you realize that, most people think about going on missions. They think about, okay, you're going to be Jesus to people who don't have Jesus, and you're going to take Jesus to them. The most important thing to realize in that is they already have Jesus.
Yeah.
And in fact, their level of spirituality in most cases is higher.
It's been a lesson to me for sure. Yeah, they have taught me so much.
And they have much less, they have much
Yeah.
less distraction. They have, less options. And, but also you think of the poverty line in the United States is somewhere just over $20,000 a year. Well, someone that's making, let's say, $1,000 a year in another country, people in the United States that are even at the poverty level are making 20 times what that person is in another country. Is the poverty line in the United States something we should be proud of? Absolutely not. But when you combine that with what is the income in other countries, it's a staggering difference. It really is.
Absolutely. So how do we begin to empathize with other people whose lives are so different than ours? And I don't mean that I'm not trying to be controversial with that, but the truth is that the way that people live in Haiti is very different than us. So how do I, if I can't go, I've never seen it before, how do I empathize with that person or those people and what they're going through?
I personally think a change in lifestyle probably will go a long way. I spoke Sunday, was talking about, what $5, if I go through the drive-in at home and get something to eat, I can't even, it's more than $5 to get just a basic, burger and fries. But in Haiti, $5 will feed a child for 30 days. And if I think to be empathetic and really want to be helpful, we maybe just need to change our way of looking at things. Figure out how to give up that mocha grande frappuccino, that I'm one of my few vices I have left. That's $5, and I could feed a child for a month for $5. And that's taking empathy to a level where it costs me something. Mm-hmm. Is $5 going to be a lot of money for me? No, but it's going to be something that I can give up so that someone else can eat or go to school.
Right.
And I think listening to the leaders in that community, because they live there every day. They know what's going on and what is needed. And just when we first started, they in Moments, their goals was were a well and a school, and so they said they'd rather have the school than the well because they knew that their future was in their children's hands. And that to me was just so eye-opening. That was theirs to decide. That was their community. Simple things like recently they recommended that we, as part of the pandemic response, that we help by getting buckets that have spigots on them because they don't have running water at their homes in Moments. And so that way they could wash their hands by using that spigot. And so we gave that to all the students and their families with soap. And that was such a simple thing that was their idea. So I think it's just listening and truly partnering and not thinking we know everything and we know better. And
And there's some cultural differences in these countries that we go to where in Haiti, they don't have Social Security. So the children are so well taken care of because the parents realize at some point the children will have to take care of the parents when they get older. There is no check that's going to come in the mail once a month, so they need to do the best they can for their children so that their children, will be around to take care of them later on.
Mm-hmm. I think this leads us into a discussion. You made mention to the story of the Good Samaritan, Jesus' parable. It's such a pivotal part of Jesus' teachings, and a lot has been said and written and preached on that idea. There's a particular devotional that you mentioned that gave 3 points about how to be a good Samaritan, or how to work on being a better good Samaritan in that sense. So the first was to feel someone else's pain, to allow yourself to feel someone else's pain, which I think is empathy. That's what we've been talking about. Yeah. Second thing is to sacrifice our own plans and positions. A little bit more of, giving up what we have or our agendas. That's something that we've covered as well. Listening to a community and what they want and what they need. And by the way, if you haven't figured this out, this applies to locally as well. This is not just to Haiti. I mean, we're talking a lot about Haiti today, but these are important life skills that we all probably need to be working on a little bit more. And then to take specific action. Yeah. Right? Marty, are there any of those that you want to highlight a little bit more?
Well, first of all, I'm no real Bible scholar by a long stretch, but I think Luke 10, talking about the Good Samaritan, Jesus uses what I think of as a great analogy. He picks, at the time, and a lot of people gloss over Luke 10 because they read it as a child and they don't think they have to read it again, but I encourage people to read it again. Basically, the Jews and the Samaritans absolutely hated each other. It's like conflict in the Middle East at this time. And so you had a rabbi went by the man that had been beaten, and he went on the other side of the road. Then you have a Levite who was the keeper of the law, someone that's really knows, the minutiae of the Bible. Both of them walked away, and then there's Samaritan is the only person that stopped, and the Jews and Samaritans absolutely hated each other. And not only did he dress his wounds, he carried him to an inn, gave the man money to take care of this wounded man, and said, when I return, if there's any money left to be paid, let me know about that as well, and I'll pay that. So that helped me really talk about those 3 points. The Samaritan felt empathy. He used his resources. He didn't have to give that guy money. That guy would probably have died on the side of the road if he'd left him. But not only did he dress his wounds and took him and found shelter, he also came back. And when he said, I'm circling here, but basically he said, I'll take care of whatever else is available. Mm-hmm. And so at that point he took action. Mm-hmm. So he felt empathy for the man. He showed concern and he cared for him, and he took action to make sure that the future was better for that individual. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Read Luke 10 if you get
it's great. Luke 10 is an important place for you to kind of go back to and have a conversation with someone else about that too. I want to say hey to Vicki Bryant. This is Pastor Chris's mother that's joining us. My mom jumped in there for a minute. We had Marty's wife, Lori, was on for a little bit. Jean and Miss Ann, just want to say hey, and thanks for joining us. Amy Jackson just joined us as well. And Belinda, kind of a follow-up question to what we're talking about with the Good Samaritan. I'm putting you on the spot. Can you think of an example in Haiti, either you or that you know about, where you've seen kind of the Good Samaritan play out?
Yeah. I think it's the overall project. I mean, I just, when you think about the needs of that community in Haiti being brought back to our church, and, when we met with the leaders in the community, we said, we didn't make any commitments to them. We just said, we'll pray about it, we'll take it back to our church, and we'll see, and if it's God's will, then it'll happen. And our church just stepped up. I mean, so many people, so it wouldn't be individuals. I mean, it is individuals stepping up, but it's the whole entire group of Ringgold Methodists stepping up like that. And, that's why Alan and I love this church so much, is because you present a need like that, and people, they do act like the Good Samaritan, and they come together, and they don't want children in Haiti to be hungry. They don't want children in Haiti not to go to school. They want them to have medical care and dental care, and they've just been really faithful, because this started in 2013, and so I think it'd be easy for us to just sort of get lazy about it and forget about it, particularly since we haven't been able to go on a trip since I think 2018 was our last trip. And so I just feel like I just really respect and appreciate the people in this church that have not forgotten about what's happening in Haiti, because they think of our church as a big part of why they're doing so well there, and we're important to them every day. And it'd be easy for us just to have one Haiti Sunday and move on along, but people don't. So
yeah. If you're watching this later, this past Sunday, we had a really strong emphasis on our mission we could put a whole bunch of prepositions here: in, with, and to the people of Haiti, because it's not just for. It's not just something that we export into a particular country. It's really something we've partnered, and it's bubbled up, and a really huge testament to the incredible work that's going there in Haiti is that in the middle of a pandemic, where we're not able to go physically, the mission is going really well. It's thriving in that sense. I mean, it's still in need, and there are ongoing obligations and things like that, but the mission hasn't stopped. It's continued in it all, which is cool. Kind of our, I want to say hey to Steve first, but maybe our final thought, and we'll end with this too, is the way that Marty ended the sermon, and that was really with a challenge that really to say to humanity, to allow God to be motivated and say to humanity, boldly praying, "Here I am, Lord, send me." Right? That's all throughout the Old Testament. There's this phrase of "Here I am, send me." So a really kind of strong, important question for us to address is how can we be sent by God when we can't go right now? We can't physically go because of a pandemic. We couldn't go last year because of political unrest, and so how can we go without going?
Yeah, and I think it's still to answer that call. To still feel it, to not disengage, and to out of sight, out of mind kind of thing, but to recognize that it's continuing to be a mission in Haiti. And like you said, it's happening without us, which is the grand design. That's what you want to happen, is you want it to go on without the people from the U.S. So I think that would be how we could answer that call, is to continue to pray about it. We've set a goal of $27,000 for our fundraiser this year, and that will pay for 12 educators' salaries for a year. A whole year, and also supplement 2 doctors and 2 nurses' monthly income, because we have a monthly dental and medical clinic. So that's not that much, for us. Like Marty said, $5 at Starbucks gets a child fed for a whole month at lunch. So it goes a long way. Any contribution they make. If they made a $500 contribution, it would pay for the entire monthly medical and dental clinic. Wow. So that would be medical care for the entire community and the children and their parents.
So the whole community for 1 month medical care is $500.
Yeah, it's a monthly medical clinic. Yeah, not every day, but a monthly one. But they have their medications that they can get refilled at the clinic and all of that. That's incredible.
If I would like to add one more thing as far as making it real. A lot of times people think a mission is something that's so far away. The 2010 tornado in Ringgold, we were here at the church, the parking lot. We had Encore, we had Red Cross, we had a lot of folks. And I remember in 2010, people whose houses were in just total shambles, I saw them walking towards the church through the trees and the mangled whatever to get to help. Then I go to Haiti in 2013, and we start building that building, and all of a sudden you see these people coming through the trees and into the open area there, and it just kind of reminded me of what was going on in 2010. People are coming towards a promise. They're coming towards hope. Whether it be people from Ringgold, where we're coming towards, food or water, or how can I get, someone to help me, clean up the debris. The folks in Haiti, you just exponentially were saying, I'm here because I know that you can partner with me, accompany me, and help me to improve my life. It's just, the image is so strong from Ringo to Montmartre. People are people.
Yeah.
Hurting is hurting.
Yeah, and that kind of brings us back to about empathizing, right?
Yeah.
One of the ground level ways we can empathize is recognize the common humanity that we all share.
Right.
We're all God's creations.
We all hurt. We all bleed. Yeah.
And we might look different or speak different or live different, but ultimately we share that humanity.
Yes.
It's so important for all of us. That kind of brings us to the end of our time here tonight. I hope this has been helpful and encouraging for you. I want to say thank you for joining us. Here we had Leslie, Mary Lou, Hobart Woody joining us as well. Thank you for being with us, and anybody else that would join later as well. Really interact in the comments if you've got questions for us, even after the fact. We're all on Facebook, so we can interact with you, or we'll kind of get the questions back and answer those as you may have them as well. I want to say really clearly, if you're feeling led or urged in any way by God, or you're feeling, how do I get to be a part of this as well and accompany this mission and what it's doing in Haiti and the work that's going on ongoing in Haiti. So here's how you do that. It's really simple. Even in this time where we can't get together physically, we can still get together in other ways to be able to accompany and go in missions. And that would be to support it financially. Belinda mentioned $27,000 being a goal for this mission for this year. Normally we have a huge fundraiser banquet dinner that we have as a church. We weren't able to do that this year for really obvious reasons. So we said, we've got to figure out a way to support this and continue this mission financially. And so that's why we're doing this. That's exactly why this is happening and why we're able to bring this to you. And whether you're watching this week here in July or maybe months or weeks down the road, you can still give in this particular way. So if you're a fan of mailing in a check, mail that into P.O. Box 99, Ringgold, Georgia 30736. That's the church's address. Ringgold United Methodist Church. You can get the money in that way, a check. You can drop by money during our regular business hours too, Monday through Thursday, 8:30 to 3:30. Miss Karen will buzz you in, and you can drop off cash money even that way. You can give online. That might be the simplest way to do that. Go to our website, ringgoldumc.org. You're going to want to click on the top where it says Give, and then Missions Giving when that page comes up. On that page, you'll have an option to choose Haiti missions to be able to give in that particular way. And all that money goes straight to our Haitian missions, right. And we send that money straight over dollar for dollar. There's no administrative fee that we take from that. It goes straight into that mission. And we
honoring the educator and the nurse too, right?
Yeah. So if you've got we did something different this Sunday just to kind of clarify. If there is an educator in your life, or a healthcare worker in your life, or maybe a family member that's a healthcare worker or an educator, or someone that's been important in your life that falls into one of those two categories, we want to give you an opportunity to honor that person, or maybe remember that person if they've passed. And so you can give in memory or in honor of an educator or healthcare worker. And so what you would do is, on that same form on our website, there's a little notes section at the bottom, or a memo, and just put that person's name in there. And if they've got an email address as well, we love to say on your behalf that someone has given in memory or in honor of this person that has made such a difference. A healthcare worker and educators, right now they're so important. Yeah. We need our healthcare workers, we need our educators, and they've stepped up to the plate in the midst of all that we've been going through. So we want to honor them and celebrate them. So this is a way to do that. So you can give online and honor a healthcare worker or an educator in that particular way. I think is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's an easy way to do that. However you feel compelled to give, please give. Support the mission that's going on in Haiti. If you've got questions about the mission or just want some more information, we set up an email address, haiti@ringgoldumc.org. You can email that email address, and we'll answer any questions you have and get you in touch with Belinda as well, and get those questions answered. It has been great being able to hang out with you guys here tonight. Marty, I want to say thank you, and Belinda, I want to say thank you so much. This has been great. Thank y'all for joining us online, and God bless you. We'll see you again soon. All right, bye.